Uncensored, who do you believe will win the next presidency? Former President Donald Trump or Vice President Kamala Harris? My next guest shared his pick with me, and he's been picking presidential winners for years and has it down to a science. He's been correct with the last 9 of the 10 presidential races. And joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight, we have a very special guest from American University, history professor and presidential historian, Dr. Alan Lichtman. Glad to have you here on The Factor Uncensored. Now, you're known as the man who has correctly predicted 9 out of the last 10 presidential elections. Now, I think they stole Gore from you, because that was decided in the courts, the hanging chads, the Supreme Court. So actually, you should be 10 out of 10.
Thank you. I agree with that. And check out my report to the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. It's still on their website that proves Gore should have won that election.
There you go. There you go. Now we're looking at Harris versus Trump. Your thoughts on who could win this and why?
Yes. My 13 keys to the White House, as we've now indicated, has been right since Reagan's election in April 1982, nearly 3 years ahead of time, when 60% of Americans said he was too old to run again, and his approval ratings were historically low. The keys: don't look at the pundits. They're my buddies, but they have no scientific basis for their opinions. It doesn't go by the polls, because polls are snapshots. They're abused as predictors by clerks like Nate Silver, who compile polls and then tell you Hillary Clinton has a 70 to 80% chance of winning in 2016, depending on the time of day you check in. And then he says, when she loses, see, I told you she had a 20% chance to lose. You know, it's meaningless. The keys are different. They tap into the structure of how American presidential elections really work. So they gauge things like midterm elections, incumbency, internal party contests, third party, short and long-term economy, policy change, social unrest, scandal, foreign and military failures and successes. And only 2 keys have anything to do with the candidates. And they ask whether the candidates are those once-in-a-generation, broadly across the board appealing candidates like FDR and Reagan. And the way it works: if 5 or fewer keys turn against the White House party, they are predicted winners. And with only 4 keys turned against the White House party, my system predicts we are going to have a new path-breaking president, that Kamala Harris will become the first American woman president, at least cracking, if not shattering, the glass ceiling, and the first president of mixed African and East Asian descent, foreshadowing where America's going. We're rapidly becoming a majority-minority country. Old white guys like me are on the decline.
All right, there you have it first, exclusive here on The Factor Uncensored from Dr. Alan Lichtman. Now let's go back to the point, an interesting point you made about pollsters and how they'll say they were right this way or wrong that way. But many people thought for sure that Hillary Clinton would win against Donald Trump back in that election, and people were shocked.
Not me. I was predicting Donald Trump right from the start, based on the keys to the White House. Remember, they're gauged against the incumbent party, the 4 years of Obama. There was a big contest, remember, between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. It was an open seat, no sitting president running. Democrats lost the midterm election. They didn't follow up the Affordable Care Act with an equally significant policy change. They didn't follow up the killing of bin Laden with an equally splashing foreign/military success. So I predicted a Trump win, which you can imagine did not make me very popular in 90 Democratic DC, where I teach at American University. But this shows my predictions are totally nonpartisan. I predicted the 2 most conservative presidents of our time, Reagan and Trump, along with liberals like Obama.
Now, for those who are wondering, if it were Trump and Biden, did you consider that? And what was your decision on that with the keys?
Well, I'd never made a final call on that.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Never deal in hypotheticals because we never know what would have happened if Biden had remained the nominee. For example, the switch over to Harris probably salvaged the third party key because voters didn't have to choose between two old white guys anymore. It probably salvaged the social unrest key since protests were directed against Biden and he's now in the background. So we really don't know how the keys would have fallen out had Biden been the nominee. But I was very critical of the Democrats, again, showing, my analysis is nonpartisan, because they were trashing their incumbent president right out in public. They didn't have to do that. I've never seen that. And I thought they were headed not only to losing the incumbency key, but for pushing to a big party brawl, which would have cost them another key, the contest key. And no White House party, get this, has ever won re-election since 1900 when losing both the incumbency key and the contest key. Maybe the Democrats listened to me, I don't know, but at least they finally grew a spine and a brain, united behind Harris, which saved the contest key.
All right, you heard it here first. Dr. Lichtman says Kamala Harris will be the next president.
With TX